Hey YouTube, it's the Busy Diva. And before we get started, let's go ahead and get through the little housekeeping. And that would be to remind everyone to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And so you can see what I'm going to come up with. Well, this time I'm coming up with something a little different. I'm going to do a TV show review of one of my favorite crime dramas, Fatal Attraction. That's a TV One show that comes on weekly, and it profiles different crimes that have happened out of what you could possibly call crimes of passion. That be between couples where someone has either gotten seriously hurt or killed behind some love type incident. Anyway, these shows, I'm not quite sure why I'm so interested, but I really do enjoy watching them. I think because they are cautionary tales, they give a little bit of a lesson in dealing with people and how people can just turn and how people, can sometimes think, and how when you think you know someone, you really don't know them. And it also reminds me of a scripture in the Bible that I used to paraphrase that says that I paraphrased it as the heart of man is inherently evil and desperately wicked. And I looked it up, so the exact quote of that is, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? That's found in the Bible, Jeremiah 17:9. I mean, that says a whole lot. I mean, the heart of man is above all things desperately wicked. I mean, how many times we say, follow your heart, your heart, this. And sometimes, we have to think, and reason and, use some wisdom and use common sense sometimes versus just go with the heart. Because sometimes the heart might lead us to a place where, we didn't think we would go or wouldn't want to go, just as in the case of some of these situations. And it said that it's desperately wicked. I mean, and some of the things that come about, and who can know it? I mean, a lot of these situations, who would have known they would just turn this way? Such is the case of this last episode, and it was called The Horror at the Holidays. That was the title of this episode. And of course, you can always look back at these episodes. This starts out talking about on March the 7th, 2010, how animal control people were looking for an animal, and on the side of the road they happened upon a scene where they basically found a body of a young African American woman, and that was badly decomposed. After all was said and done, it turned out to be the body of Miss Jerry L. Foster. Jerry L. Foster was a 23-year-old young woman, beautiful, ambitious. She was very fashionable, very outgoing. People described her as someone that everyone seemed to like. And she was very stylish, wore, the latest of everything, very attractive, bubbly, and a wonderful personality. And so it goes on to talk about how, she grew up and at 23 struck out on her own and then met this young man by the name of Frederick Christian. Now, Frederick Christian was a guy, they called it, that he said that he flipped cars. Basically, he fixed up old cars and sold them, whatever, and, made money off of it. That's what he did. And somehow they met and got together, and things went fast. And a lot of these relationships that go south, it seems that, like many that I've seen in the past, things just really went really fast. As with this young woman, things went really fast between them, and next thing you know, they were living together. Well, it turns out they were living together. They seemed all happy, and so it seemed. They had a little baby together, a little girl, and they all seemed like to be this happy family until it came up to a Thanksgiving where they were supposed to, went to her mother's house, and then she was supposed to go do a little hopping from house to house like we typically do for Thanksgiving, and she never showed up anywhere. And the boyfriend, when the baby, he came and brought the baby to the mom's and left, but she wasn't there, and he didn't know where she was, so he said. And so they called her job. They called because she was supposed to work that day. Then she was nowhere. She never answered her phone. Everybody got worried because, when you're close with your family, people know your pattern and know what you do. And all of this, not showing up, not showing up at any of the places she was supposed to be, people got worried and concerned. It's very, important when you're in these relationships, have people that love you and let them know what's going on. So at least her family knew, where she should probably be. And the boyfriend, said she left. She never came back home. Well, it seems that Miss Juriel was a young lady who she was living with this guy, but being a young 23-year-old woman, I guess she wasn't ready to be married, and as committed, she would go out with her friends and meet other men. So along the way, they had questioned like a couple of other men that she had associated with, when things, went south, when they weren't finding her and they start questioning people and their whereabouts and who she was with last. And it seems that, she was still seeing other people, even though she was still living with her child's father. And, sad to say, being so young, you don't have that thought process. And, I'm not sure how, but somehow I guess she seemed okay to her to do that. But, you just don't know. My thing is, if you're not wanting to be with that person, you should just move forward. But I guess somehow she didn't see it that way. Maybe because the dad was, there with the girl, or he just didn't want to let go. But nevertheless, when it was all said and done, it was found out that circumstantially, it was found out that when she came home the next day at 5 in the morning, he confronted her and in a fit of rage, apparently shot her and took some steps to get rid of her body. And then, really didn't let on to anyone that, what he had done. And while everyone all along was looking for her. And the police, they questioned various people. They questioned the different men that they could find that she had been with, her family, her friends, different ones, but everything seemed to turn around and point back to the boyfriend. And was all said and done, he went on trial for having killed her. And they say he showed no remorse and he didn't seem sorry. And, that's really unfortunate and sad. And they say in the middle of that came some abuse out of the situation. He apparently, would choke her or whatever when she would stay out and leave. When she'd stay out late and, go out like she did. And what seemed to turn this what made this situation go south was when she accidentally called her phone, thinking that she had called another guy, and he answers the phone. And so she mistakenly called his phone, thinking she was calling another man. So that's really what set him off. And so when he confronted her, things went south, and that's when he killed her. So, that's really sad, situation. And it leads us, to learn, a lot of lessons from this story. First off, moving too fast in relationships. It's good to stop and take some time, and get to know the person you're with. Because along the way, in addition to this flipping vehicles that this guy was doing, he also was dealing some drugs on the side. And at first, people did think that was part of the reason she was missing, but it wasn't. So that's one thing that he had hidden that he was doing. And then, apparently, the abuse that ensued, because they were not on the same page in this relationship. And, we have to learn to take our time, not rush into things. And 23 years old, I remember when I was 23, and that's very young, even to be getting married. It's okay to get married, but you still need to get to know the person, know who you're dealing with, know something about their background, be around them enough, see them get angry, see what's going to happen. And when they do get angry, they start showing signs, putting their hands on you, choking you, or whatever, and doing things like that, it's a sign that you got to leave. I mean, having been in an abusive relationship myself, I understand how fear can sit in. But at least, she had lots of family and people around her that loved her. You have to let somebody know. That's the one thing I did have to do and had to learn through my situation. You must let somebody know what's going on with you. You just can't keep things hidden. And if you want out of a relationship, she apparently felt stifled. She didn't just want to be with this person all the time. Here she was now in a family situation, possibly biting off more than she could chew relationship wise. And she wasn't ready for that. She was still a young woman, still wanting to get out there and explore and meet people and, experience different things. And then here she is tied into this live-in situation that it seems that she probably didn't really want to be in. And, I know how fear can grip you. And quite frankly, it could have been fear that made her feel she had to stay there. And especially since they had a child together, that's another thing that can make you feel obligated to stay in something that's really not good for you. So, let's look at this story as a cautionary tale. The name of the story was called Horror at the Holidays, dated February the 5th. So it's probably online, or it's going to be online, or you can probably watch it on demand and see the whole story. It's a sad story of a beautiful young life snuffed out for no good reason other than jealousy and anger, and control. And the one thing we've got to know, we cannot control people. I know, you fall in love and then people fall out of love and people just don't want to be with you. Over the years, I've learned it's not you. Like they say, it's not me, not you, it's me. It's that person. It's not you. And that person has just decided they're just not into you anymore. And it's not anything that you've necessarily done, or you're not this or you're not that anymore. That person just isn't into you anymore and they want to move on. So people, have to learn to accept that. And a lot of this, goes back with knowing who you are, understanding who you are, having some self-esteem, that you don't have to be so attached and hold on to someone so tight, that if you don't have them, you're nothing. So anyway, let's learn some lessons from this sad story. And, I pray for the family. The mother said the fact that the little girl reminds her so much of her, and he did get caught, it helped her to move forward and move on. And I hope that's the same thing that happened for her and her friends. So anyway, please like, subscribe, and share the videos. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will maybe learn something today. Peace out.